In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our grave, and in the sky the birds still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, felt sunset glow, and loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be it yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. That poem was written by a soldier, by a surgeon, by a physician, a Canadian, who was at the Second Battle of Ypres. I think it was written on the 3rd of May, 1915. And John McCrae's friend had died the day before, a very close friend of his. And he'd just written it the day after. He'd been at the funeral of his friend. But it's interesting because the 3rd of May, the Second Battle of Ypres started on the 22nd of April, I think. And it's a very important battle, very pivotal battle to occur during the First World War, because it was the first time the Germans used chlorine gas, used poisonous gas to mass effect on the front and to devastating effect as well. And they used it on the French first, on part of the line, protecting Ypres in Belgium. And to the men manning the trenches, the French lines, they just saw, well, first what happened was that the Germans, they didn't fire shells with chlorine gas in it. No, they brought up barrels to the front. I think over a 6.5 or 6 kilometer front, they brought up some 170 tons of chlorine gas, and they simply released it with the wind favorable to the Germans, but not the French, of course. And the French in their trenches, what they saw was this yellow, thick fog coming towards them. And in their ignorance and their naivety, I wouldn't call it naivety, they thought it was a smokescreen, and the Germans were shortly going to be behind it. Well, that was true to a certain extent. The Germans were coming behind it. But what they didn't realize was that that fog itself was poisonous, deadly, asphyxiating gas. And the numbers, I think, were horrific. I think up to 3,000 casualties, up to half of that were fatalities. But even those who survived were incredibly maimed and knocked out in horrific ways. The effects on the lungs, the blood, just horrific. And men coming up to the front to relieve, to support, would come up rows of just soldiers lying by the side, some dead, some blackened because of their suffocation, and some alive, not being able to be treated. But it was that pivotal moment they used gas, and for the rest of the war, it changed. Gas was used. And, weapons of mass destruction, And so that was the Second Battle of Ypres. Sorry to talk about something so sad and so horrible. And John McCrae probably had to deal with these horribly wounded soldiers. And so on Armistice Day, the 11th of November, this is my short little video with In Flanders Fields attached to it as an addendum, or Flanders Fields really the main thing. I just wanted to talk about it a bit. So maybe I'll just say it again. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our grave, and in the skies the birds still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, felt sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you with failing hands we throw the torch, be it yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.